Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We're going to get started with our event shortly. Thanks again for being here. Just a quick reminder, if you can please keep your audio on mute, we would greatly appreciate that. All right, everybody. Well, welcome. Thank you all for being here today, for joining our monthly event series, Career Buzz, Hornet Success Stories. My name is Gerardo, and I'm with your Sacramento State Alumni Association, and extremely excited to be here today. I'm honored to be here with a wonderful group of Sac State alumni, and I'm thrilled for you all to hear their diverse experiences. It's going to be a wonderful event. So to begin our event, I would like to welcome this evening's moderator and Sac State alumna, Rhonda Staley-Brooks.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our annual event series, Career Buzz, Hornet Success Stories. My name is Rhonda Staley-Brooks, and I'm the Manager of Community Development and Outreach at SMUD, and I'm a proud member of the Alumni Association board as well. I'm a double Hornet, graduated with my undergrad in child development in '95 and my EMBA in 2018. So I'm so excited to be here as your moderator today. Career Buzz connects students and recent graduates with our diverse alumni network through Q&A discussions and networking. We will learn from experts who know what it means to have Hornet pride. As a Sac State graduate, I see many people in Sacramento who will say to me, "Hey, you're a Sac State grad? Me too." So tonight's event takes advantage of the strong Sac State alumni network. We'll hear from the successful alumni who have made significant impact within our campus community as well as the Sacramento region. This event is part of the larger university goal to keep alumni engaged with each other and our students. Tonight's event is an opportunity for Sacramento State to showcase successful alumni and hear directly from them about their experience, and more importantly, to get some advice. I'd like to welcome our panelists and invite them to introduce themselves. And we will start with Kristin Figueroa, class of 2016. Welcome, Kristin.
Thank you, Rhonda. Hi, everybody. So yeah, I graduated in 2016, magna cum laude. I loved going to Sac State. It was such a great experience. And I got a psychology degree specializing in biopsych. So it was just a great experience. And I'm continuing on to get my clinical mental health counseling degree. And so I'm working on that while I'm working full time. So that's what I've been up to.
Welcome, Kristin. Next up, my fellow board member, Jeff Owens, class of '98.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Owen, as Rhonda said, class of '98, communications with an emphasis in mass media. I was actually a transfer student. I did 2 years of community college and then transferred to Sac State to be home where I was originally born here in Sacramento. So happy to be here tonight. Thanks, Rhonda.
Great. And last but not least, Kerry Wood, class of '93 and 13.
I've just taken myself off unmute. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to extend my sincere thanks to all of the staff at Sac State who are fantastic and for putting this on. I'm really happy to be a part of this. And yeah, so I received my business degree in marketing in gosh, 93. That's so long ago. And master's in higher education leadership in 2013. And in between that, I finished all of my coursework for my master's in communication. And a long story, didn't finish that one, but determination is key, and got it done in 2013. So look forward to talking with all of you today.
It's all right, Kerry. That's the first piece of advice. Don't quit. I too don't give up. My degrees are very, very far apart. So that's the first piece of advice. So thank you for sharing that. We will now spend the next 30 minutes or so hearing firsthand from the alumni about their take on career success, innovation, and some advice on how to make the most of your experiences in college and beyond. Our panelists won't be taking any questions during our panel discussion. However, never fear, you will have an opportunity to engage with them individually in a breakout room after the Q&A portion. More information to come in the chat function. So let's get started. I'm going to go with you, Jeff. We're going to start out with you. So I just want to do like a fun icebreaker. What was your first job, and what were some of the life lessons you learned from that job?
Technically, my first job out of graduating was I had done an internship at 2 radio stations, 92.5 and 101.1. And as a communications mass media, that was where I thought my career path was going to go. And so I was started as an intern, and then as I graduated, they hired me as the on-site events coordinator, which was a ton of fun, going out and setting up all the live broadcasts, and then was doing some production for one of the morning shows. And I think that actually was, as you asked that question, was such a great experience. That was one of the best bosses I ever had, Melanie Polka. And it was just, the lesson on that was just be yourself, have fun, be authentic. She was, we would have Friday dance parties where at 5 o'clock we would just make fools of ourselves and jump up, and she'd be part of that. And she just really taught me that you can just, there's times to be serious and be a boss and coach, but sometimes the best lessons are just be yourself, be connected to your staff, and be authentic.
That's amazing. Kerry, same question for you. Let's hear about your first job.
So my first job was also in the communications area. I thought I was going to be a news anchor. So I actually got this wonderful job at KCRA just out of college, where I worked with the chief meteorologist. And he had a kind of a sideline sort of job where, while it was related, he wanted to get out into the schools and do school talks. So I was his scheduler. He also wrote several weather books, and I was his assistant publisher. So I learned a lot about working with people, marketing, juggling a lot of things at the same time, follow-up, how important follow-up is, and really paying attention to details. And I learned a lot about weather too. So I'm kind of learned to be a little bit of a weather geek, just purely from my experience with him. And I think through that, I actually learned what I didn't want to do, which I thought I wanted to really get into the newsroom, but I realized that that really wasn't my cup of tea. And it was an excellent opportunity for me to get in there and kind of see what reality was like. So it was great.
Nice. And what about you, Kristin?
For me, my first job was at Charles Schwab and Company in the financial industry. And it was a really great job. I learned a lot of lessons there. I was there for quite a bit of time before I finished my degree. So I think what I learned is, customer service and communication, and really relating to your clients, really understanding where they're coming from. Everybody has a unique situation and where they're at in life. So being able to truly listen to people and understand where they're coming from and give that good customer service is something that I've carried into every job that I've had after that.
Kristin, you're one of our most recent grads. Can you talk about your transition from your degree just, 4 years ago to now, and any advice that was given to you along the way?
Yes, I would love to. So as I said, I graduated with a psychology degree specializing in biopsych, and I wanted to apply for the FBI, but I aged out and I wasn't able to do that, and it was crushing. And so I decided to go ahead and get a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. I decided to do my master's so I could go ahead and get licensed and start my own practice. But I think some of the best advice I've had along the way, especially because I work in the technology industry now, so I've always loved the STEM fields. And I think that the best advice that I've received is just to believe in yourself, and anything that you put your mind to, you have the ability to do. If somebody comes up to you and they tell you, you're not good enough, you're probably not going to make it, you're probably going to fail, then those are the intentions that they're putting onto themselves. It's not what you believe in your heart. So you really just need to, you know, keep at it, keep going. And that's really helped me a lot. I think that, you know, I'm getting my master's degree, so I'm still having to work full time while I'm getting my master's degree. And, you know, I think it's difficult to do all of that, especially right now with the pandemic. But I think that if you just keep at it and keep going, then you can be successful with what you want to do.
That's great. So Jeff, you are a CEO of a major nonprofit in our region, and I know that you hire lots and lots and lots and lots of people. So when you're considering hiring someone, what are some of the qualities and, you know, not skills necessarily, that you look for either in their resume or in an interview?
Yeah, I think, you know, I would actually say that's something that's shifting for me. From a resume standpoint, you know, I started hiring folks when you would look, the first thing you look at is longevity. How long have they been at positions? How long have they been, how often do they move? Do they float around a lot? And I think that's something that's different nowadays. I think folks young people are encouraged to try new things, to try different positions. I think that's different. So the first thing I would say is just be real, be honest on your resume. Don't try to appease the person that you're trying to interview with. Be real to yourself. Own your strengths, own your weaknesses, and know the company that you're applying for. So I think those are some of the critical things. So in typical, you know, interviews, you know, you're going to tell me about some of your strengths, some of the things that you're doing really well, you know, talk about some of your weaknesses or where you want to grow on, you know, and I look again for how well do they know themselves? How real are they being? So I'm not going to sit here and go, you know, what I don't like are the answers that are like, well, you know, part of my weaknesses, I'm just a workaholic. I just can't stop. No, okay, let's be real. You know, for me, it'd be like, look, I like big picture stuff. I like high level. I like strategy. I like being broad about that. I'm not super great at the details, but I'm really good at working with people or finding the resources to help me think through some of the specifics. So I like folks to know kind of who they are. But if you're kind of younger in your experience, that might be something new, or you're still determining. And I think part of that is going like, hey, this is what I'm looking for in this position. These are the skills that I really want to build out. These are the areas that I want to challenge myself to get better. So, you know, I look for something that's real, authentic, and also that if they have had past experiences, how does that align with what our organization works around? What do we do in this space? You know, if you're in a completely different sector, it might mean that something I'm going to ask you some follow-up questions, like why are you coming into this field? What is it about like either nonprofit or education that, you know, is inspiring you to want to apply for this position? So those are some of the things I'd be looking for. But I think the real thing is just know who you are, be authentic. And I would still say the biggest thing is know the organization that you are applying for in your cover letter and in your interviews, which is explain what it is about this company. Use the things that you learned in your research within your responses to show that you actually care enough about this that you did your homework.
Nice. Kerry, I want to talk about work styles because I think it's important for students, recent grads, just about anyone to really look about how they set their goals for themselves. So can you give us some examples of how you do that still today, whether it's day-to-day, long-term? How are you setting your own personal goals?
That's a great question. You know, it's not easy sometimes to set goals and stick with them. And I think that's been one of the things, if I've learned nothing else over the years, it's create a goal that, you know, that I'm excited about. What am I excited about? Whether it's personally or professionally, but also make it realistic and figure out, you know, how am I going to get there and how am I going to keep that goal in front of me every day? You know, from the, I'll start with sort of the minutia, for example. One of the things that I do that keeps me on track with goal setting, you know, is using tools. Or we have so many technological advances in our society today, where we have so many tools that can help us keep on track. And it could be as simple as putting actions on your calendar every day. Say you want to set a goal for running a mile. You know, if you haven't been running, you got to figure out how you're going to kind of chunk that out. Today I'm going to run 3 blocks. Maybe next week I'm going to run 6. So it's really creating sort of bite-sized action items that will get you to that goal. Again, I think professionally, it's also important to, I think, really make it a big goal that you're excited about, that you really want to work toward. What's it going to take to get there? It's not easy. Sometimes, you know, again, getting a degree, it's not easy. Trying to find that first job, it can be a challenge. But there are steps you can take that I think are really important to lay the groundwork for yourself, use the tools that are accessible, and make it happen.
I don't want to leave you yet, Kerry, because I think a little bit about that resume stuff that Jeff was talking about. Wanted to add about philanthropy. So how does one's volunteer work translate to resumes? And you know, you are in the world of philanthropy, maybe sharing with these young people what they can do to build their resume off of those kind of volunteer work in different committees or whatever you're going to suggest.
Yeah, no, that's happy to answer that one, because I think that it's very important to demonstrate that you care about the community, especially if you're getting into the world of philanthropy and community-based organizations. It's really, it shows a lot of passion. It shows a commitment that this is something that you know, are truly interested in. And volunteerism is one of those ways to do that. Now, you know, you might want to think carefully about the kind of volunteer activities that you do. You know, I've worked for a number of nonprofit organizations over the last 20 plus years. And, you know, I may say, well, helping my daughter sell Girl Scout cookies on the corner or in front of the grocery store is a good thing, but it may not be that kind of activity that's going to demonstrate that you've actually chosen an organization to volunteer on a regular basis. That shows commitment. It shows that you've maybe got some longevity and you've got some stick-with-itness. If you can find yourself an organization that you're passionate about, spend time with that organization and actually show a track record.
That's great advice. So Kristin, again, I don't want to pick on you because you are straight out of college. In our eyes, you know, we're the 90s. So to you're the recent grad here. But I think that this question really could come from you and give some great advice. So what advice do you have for the students to make their college experience translate into professional success?
That's a really good question. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is to do your research, do your homework. And I don't mean assignments, but I mean in the field that you are interested in. There may be a plethora of opportunities that you don't even know exist. And so that's what I found. As I said earlier, I wanted to work for the FBI and that didn't work out. So it was like, what do I do now, you know? And so I talked to professors, I talked to universities, I talked to people working in the field. And I even did that as I was a senior at Sac State. You know, I made phone calls. I asked my professors if they had referrals of people in the field that I could talk to. And I made those phone calls and I had interviews with those people already working in the field to see what they do, how did they get there, what certifications and degrees do they have. And even in my master's program, as I'm in this program, I'm finding out about a whole lot of other things that are available to me. So I think that really doing your research will help you feel prepared into going into the work field. And I've learned too that you might try different types of careers, or you might have a couple of different employers that you work for, and that's okay. Just learn from it. And I think, yeah, that's just the biggest thing that I've learned, is just do your research and see what's available to you that you might not even know exists yet.
That's a great piece of advice. We often forget that the professors, the faculty on campus are huge resources, especially when we're looking for employment. So that was a really good piece of advice. So Jeff, let's talk about innovation. You know, progress often relies on innovation. So what is the value of innovative ideas, business practices, or processes in the workplace?
I think obviously today with COVID, it's clear you have to be ready and innovative, because you never know what's going to come along and you're going to have to shift. You know, in thinking about that question, you know, for me personally, I like to be creative. I like to be innovative. I don't like to feel like I have to do something because that's what everybody in the industry does. I want to be able to stand out. I want to be able to put my stamp to things. So I value innovation. I value creativity. And you never know what the market's going to dictate. I mean, you could either be Netflix or you could be Blockbuster. For those in the audience, those used to be video cassettes that you could go and get. Now it's streaming. And if you don't convert, then it's not, you're gonna die in that industry. So you have to be ready. You have to be innovative. And I think personally for me, I enjoy it because I don't like it when things start to get stale. But that's my career path. I know many that would say, like, I like that stable, I do this. I went from radio, from a career, and then went to the Career Center and actually started working for Mercury Insurance that came out of that interview. And that was very structured. There wasn't really a lot of innovation, and that was not for me. So it's important to me, but I would also say when it comes to innovation, you also be careful that you don't get too much mission creep or start chasing once you're in that establishment. So at City Year, we're a nonprofit. We have a very clear mission. We have a very clear structure to what we are trying to do on the school campuses that we serve, but we're constantly looking for new ways to get better. How do we continuously improve? What is data telling us? What are our teachers telling us? What are our core members' experience telling us? And that way we can continue to be creative to approach it. But we're not saying, hey, today, we are an Americorps program serving in low-income schools, and tomorrow we're going to open up a food truck that goes down to Midtown. So I think it's being creative in your space, but I think what's helpful is where you direct that creativity and innovation.
Nice. Kerry, a recent grad, you know, what advice do you give me? I just graduated from Sac State and I'm looking for the next thing. What advice would you give me?
Well, what I would say is consider the kinds of jobs that you think would be really cool to do. Just think about companies that you admire, people that you have seen doing the jobs that you like. And it takes some bravery, it takes some courage, but people like to give advice. And so what I would do, and what I did when I first graduated, was I reached out to people just to ask them, would you be willing to talk with me? Would you be willing to just give me a few minutes of your time? I would love your advice. I'd like to understand a little bit more about what your job is like and what it took for you to get there. So that would be one thing. And then ask them who they recommend you talk to next. And just start building a network that way, build relationships, join organizations or associations. There's all kinds of different groups out there that can get you connected with people that are in the field that you're interested in. So really it's starting to build that network. And again, people love to give advice, so go out and ask for it.
So Kristin, I find it interesting, biopsychology. Was that the degree that you were like, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to get a degree in biopsychology? Like, how did you get to that point? Very curious.
I actually did. It's interesting. I was interested in psychology, but how does the brain affect that behavior? You know, you could have really what I wrote a lot of my papers on my senior year at Sac State was traumatic brain injury and CTE, which is what you hear a lot of the football players get, after they have multiple concussions, and how does that change their behavior. I thought it would be really beneficial for me, especially if I worked in a job like the FBI or going into clinical mental health counseling. You say, is it nature or nurture? And we're finding now that it's a little bit of both. And so to me, that was fascinating. And the fact that we know more about maybe space than we do about our own brains, it just I just want to learn as much as I can. So actually, yeah, I was really, really excited to have the opportunity to do that. In Sac State, it's just amazing. I got to hold a human brain in lab, and I'm very proud of that. I tell people that, whether they think it's gross or not, I thought it was awesome. So yeah, I mean, I was very, very blessed to be able to do that at our university.
Nice. I don't know if that's gross or awesome. I'm still thinking about it. Kerry, Jeff, either one of you, did you change your major, or did you come in knowing I'm going to get this major in marketing, I'm going to get this degree in communications? Did anybody change their major? I'm curious.
I didn't. No, I stuck with it.
So you knew you were going to do marketing?
Yeah.
Okay. What
No,
about you, Jeff?
I went to, I was a kid that never really, the only job I wanted at one point was to be a firefighter. And when I got out of school, it was at a time when there was it was a horrible job market. So I went to a community college because I really had no idea what I wanted. And that was actually a great experience for me, because when I was ready to transfer, I kind of had 3 majors that I was interested in. So for me, it was like milestones, just actually force myself to go to college, then determine what I wanted, and then where I wanted to go in that degree. So I'm probably not a best story, because I looked at it and said, okay, I like geology, psychology. And then I started looking through the book and looked at the majors and what jobs. Communications had the broadest number of jobs under it. I said, I know how to talk, I know how to write, and it had the least amount of math requirement. So I went that path.
I actually think it's great. So, and the reason why I bring that question up is that many students change their degree at some point in time. You come in knowing what you want to be, and then you flip the script in the middle of it. I'm one of them. I was a business major, and I couldn't pass accounting too. So you're not going to get a degree if you can't pass the accounting too. So I think it's important, Jeff, that you did lay out, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to get to the end, because ultimately, look at you now, you're the CEO of a major nonprofit in our region. So it worked out just fine. Kristin, last piece of advice. We're coming to our last 10 minutes, and I wanted to see if there's any other advice you would give a recent grad.
I think just the one thing that I'm going to stick to is just to believe in yourself. And I know that times are really weird right now. For me, my master's degree is being held up because I can't find anybody to take an intern right now with COVID happening. And so really, if you have to adjust, if you have to alter something, just be open to it. And just like the other panelists said, ask questions. I've never had anybody say no to being willing to talk to me. And that's all of my professors, people that are out in the field, and so it's really just about adapting and persevering. And if plans change, it's okay. You can still get to your goal no matter what it is. And so that's the biggest thing that I've really had to learn recently.
That's great. So we're at 5 o'clock. I can't believe how fast time goes, and we're slated to go about 10 more minutes. So I've got some stuff that I want to throw out to you guys. Jeff, you're on the board for the Alumni Association. What does that board seat and other philanthropy that you do in the region mean to you?
I love it. I as you said, you don't know where your career path is going to take you, and I would just say, to everybody here, just continue to go along the things that you're interested in, the things that you're passionate about. And if that one thing isn't there that you're ready for, keep finding things that help move you in that direction. And, for me, I went from a long-term being executive in a private sector company. I was there almost 20 years, and then decided, I really want to stay in this area, but I want to give back and I want to get invested And then I went and got into nonprofit. And then that helped really expose me to running my own board, hearing what other board members were doing. And again, following passion, I looked at this and go, it's time for me to not just lead a board. I want to get on a board and experience that and contribute in that way. And I started thinking about okay, time is tough, all of those things, but what is the one thing that I would want to be part of? And I actually started thinking about Sac State, and I'd had a chance through the nonprofit work, to meet President Nelson and meet yourself and so many others. And like Amanda Mers, who was on the board, that helped bring me into it. And you realize how exciting that was, such an instrumental part of who I am, and that ability to get that degree and spend that time on that campus. And so for me, it means a lot that I can give back to the university that gave me so much, to be able to associate with folks that also have so much pride in Sac State, and think about folks that are in college currently, but also thinking about alums that are just coming out, or part of it, we get to be much more of a collective family. And I love the fact that we've opened up for graduating college students to just be part of it. There's no entry fee to get into it. So I think it's a great way to network. It's a great way to still feel connected to the institution, and a great way to feel like you're giving back to those that are going to be coming right behind you.
I'm going to do a great shout out for graduates of the last decade. Ask us about that at the end. Kerry, I want to know from you, Kerry, I'm young. I don't have a lot of work experience. I don't have this volunteer experience that you guys are talking about. And I don't have a mentor. How do I go about finding a mentor, somebody who can help me through all the stuff that I don't know what I'm doing?
Wow. That's easier said than done. There are some formal ways to do that. There are organizations out there that that's what they're about, is mentorship for either, they might have in a specific field. There are professional, associations that have mentor programs as part of that. It could be, again, that as you're out talking with people who are doing the job that you're doing, if you build a relationship with them, they might be willing to mentor you. People are busy, obviously most people care if a student or somebody just graduating comes to them and wants advice, needs guidance. Most people are going to be very open to that, and they're actually very excited to help. Mentoring takes some time. So it's part of building the network, building your relationships. And as you move through that process, you'll find people that you admire and that you strike up a rapport with. And that's another way you can ask someone to be a mentor.
That's great advice. Thank you so much.
Hey, Rhonda.
Yes.
I just want to respond to that just real quick. I think Kerry's right. Folks want to be able to be available and give advice, but it's all about who seeks you out. I think LinkedIn has been a fantastic vehicle. We have a lot of folks that come through our program alum. If people reach out to me and say, this is what I'm interested, I need some advice, can you spend some time? I'm always more than happy to spend that time, because I appreciate the gumption and the go get it attitude to do that. So I think LinkedIn has been a fantastic opportunity for young folks now too.
Thank you. All right, Kristin, we're going to wrap these up for all this questions going to all three of you guys. We want to know what goal, either professional or personal, would you still like to accomplish? So we're going to round it out with Kristin. I'll go to Kerry and Jeff to finish us off.
I think professionally, I want to start my own practice, and I really want to give back to my community. That's something that my program I'm in now is about social justice. And the more I learn about social justice, the more I want to help in my community. And so I really want to be secure enough with my job once I have my license that I can really start giving back to my community and doing some of that social justice that people deserve. There's a lot of different groups that really need assistance. And so if we can help to get that awareness and, resources and help to our communities, then that's going to be my ultimate goal here.
Wonderful. Kerry, same question.
I've been pondering that a lot lately, actually. I've been very happy in my leadership roles, the roles that I have held, but they have never been the CEO or executive director of a nonprofit. I've always been sort of the second in command if you want to get into hierarchical conversation. But I think that next for me is to do that, is to seek a leadership position for a nonprofit. I think that's really, that's exciting to me. There's a lot of work involved in that. So, you know, as you are all moving through advances in your career, it is definitely something to ponder. How will this affect my life balance? How will this affect, you know, every area of my life? And so I'll leave it at that.
So there's a CEO position that just crossed my desk in Napa. If you want to take a look, Kerry, I mean, can't be a bad gig in Napa.
Is there wine involved?
I mean, I'm just saying, I looked at it, I was like, wow, okay. Jeff, round this out with the
I'll just wrap it up. I mean, I love what I'm doing now. I love the city here, and I think there's so much more we can be doing in our community. I think there's such a worthwhile work that we're doing. I just want to continue to do my part in helping that grow. I mean, I think at some point I would love to be maybe on the other end of it. I mean, I know you've asked for money and you've given money. It's a lot easier to give the money. But I like that idea of being able to, you know, help nonprofits get their vision together, help fund them, help shape, you know, what their impact can be. I just want to continue to help, you know, as my panelists colleagues were saying here, is like just continue to make a difference in social justice in our community, in our region, however I can do that.
That's fantastic. And real quick about the students that you work with, Jeff, are those college students? Are they high school students? Can you just say what the city year staff person is, like a demo
Sure.
for us?
Yeah, real quick, because I want to go to the breakouts and appreciate the plug. I mean, you all looking for good experience, and right now, Americorps is a national service program. There's lots of different programs. City Year is a full-time service program. So we take 18 to 25-year-olds, some right out of high school, some with some college. Probably 80% of them have a college degree. They're using it as a gap year to both kind of do some self-reflection, putting them on their resume. But we also have a lot of folks that are interested in social work, education, teaching, and this gives them a chance to really understand what that's like before they go off and get that master's. It's a really great program to give back. But there's also some that don't. You know, we have to have 1,700 hours so you don't get a whole lot of time outside of the program. But there's lots of different good AmeriCorps programs that I would encourage you to look at.
Thank you for that, Jeff. And for all of you, we've set a couple of plugs. The Alumni Association does have a graduate of the last decade committee that they're forming. So definitely ask about that to our staff there. The Career Center has a mentor program as well. So all the resources that you have at Sac State, we want to encourage you to use those resources. They're there for the taking, but you have to make the initiative to go find it. So thank you guys for your great insight and advice. At this time, we will transition to the breakout rooms. And the chat function, I've already seen it. There's a couple of Zooms, all right? So there's 3 different links that you'll be able to see with Kristin, Jeff, or Kerry. Each room is assigned to them for you to go in and ask those questions. I saw the Q&A going through the chat, and I'm so excited to see that because I know those rooms will be fun and live. In the virtual breakout rooms, you'll have an opportunity to ask all the questions about their degrees, their previous work experience, their current role, anything that we didn't cover. And if something that we did cover, you want a little bit more information about, we invite you to get that information out of them in their breakout room. I invite you now to copy the Zoom link of the room you'd like to attend at this webinar. Will be ending shortly. So thank you again to all of you for attending the Career Buzz. The 3 of you were fantastic. Kristin, Jeff, and Kerry, thank you for being here, and we'll see you in a breakout room. Stay connected.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Hi, thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Kristin.
So panelists, you'll go to your breakout room. See you later.
Bye, thank you, Rhonda.
Monique and Robert, we still have you in the room. Don't want to leave you astray. What in the chat function there are some links. Monique, I know you had a specific question to, I believe it was to Jeff or Kerry. So feel free to go ahead and copy and paste that link.
It says it's not letting her click the link.
Oh, okay. So what you'll have to do is copy and paste it. So copy that link and then exit this link and then put it in your web browser, and then you'll be able to do that. So you're trying to enter Jeff. Let me go ahead and get Jeff here. Yeah, you have to copy and paste it because you are still in this Zoom here. So you will go ahead and so copy and paste this link here. That so you're gonna copy and paste it and then put it into your web browser, and then it will probably prompt you to say that you're in an existing Zoom room right now, and then if you want to leave and enter that one, and then you should be able to do that. So I'll be on here until, oh, looks like you got it.
Yes.
Perfect. All right,
right.
Rhonda, well, it was a pleasure meeting you and seeing you again.
Yes.
Thank you again so much. And I wish you all the best in your surgery and hope every quick recovery, and let us know how we can be a support, okay?
All right, thanks so much. Talk to you later.
Bye, Rhonda.